Hello, I'm Diana Kanecki of KaneckiArt, and I'd like to talk about decision making. Um, well, to start off, decision making has different types of modes. There are people who do decision making to actually solve problems, and then people who do decision making actually keep the status quo so that they don't have to solve problems and just push it on to the other person. Today I'd like to talk about decision making where people try to push things down to the other person or to the successor. Um, Part of this involves what's called confirmation bias. Well, confirmation bias can be this. If you have one, if someone says 1 plus 1 equals 3, someone who believes in confirmation bias will will pull all sorts of research and other things to prove that 1 plus 1 equals 3. All of us know that 1 plus 1 does not equal 3, it actually equals 2, and it can actually be proven by if you have one pebble, another pebble, and you count them, 1, 2. There's 2 pebbles. But with confirmation bias, the reason why someone's using that is because they're trying to acknowledge that a problem doesn't exist. Like a common example is the city and county of Kenosha in other parts of the country. I'm just not singling out Kenosha per se, but there's still some people in social service and in county human health and services that think that um, because homelessness is caused by people rebelling against their families. If they made peace with their families, there wouldn't be a homeless problem. Well, they forget to think about what happens with people who go through domestic abuse. Women and Children's Horizons is more realistic. They realize people go through domestic abuse and they do provide a 30-day shelter. And the reason why they have to do it 30 days is because like other types of needs, where they're fighting confirmation bias, they have to work on a very limited income, very limited resources, and it's so they can only have so much room for so many people. But they do provide education, they do provide counseling, and they have trained professionals that are trained in counseling, whereas other organizations try to rely too much on prayer. Sometimes people who've gone through difficulties have gone through difficulties because they've gone through people who've tried to put them through too much prayer or force them to conform to the church. It doesn't matter if they're liberal, if they're conservative, Tea Party, ultra liberal or communist, whatever. People just had enough and they're done. So what the point is that when confirmation bias is used in social services or other types of decision making, people are impacted. And what normally happens when it's used against people, they either end up in the emergency room or they end up in the psychiatric hospital because there are many instances where people are feeling bad thoughts that can be driven and made feel worthless or isolated. And also, confirmation bias also leads to social shunning, where certain people are shunned and they'll say, well, I'll be friends with you privately, but I won't go out with you publicly. Is that really a friend? No, that's not. Maybe acquaintance, but everyone needs some sort of companionship, whether it's friendship or whether it is a relationship. But confirmation bias keeps old stereotypes going. It was the same type of confirmation bias that kept the Civil Rights Act from being passed, and also kept women out of providing women activities and sporting activities up until the 1970s, or even women holding a bank account. Um, Another type of bias that exists is what's called halo reasoning, and Let me clear that blackboard for a minute. The reason why halo reasoning exists is because it comes. Let's see, let me try to put her. And here it's. It comes because there's a big halo. An idea is put upon a halo, and what happens is that with the idea, people say, well, okay, well, this idea comes from this person, or this idea comes from this church, or this idea comes, and they don't examine it critically. They just say, okay, because it's from this source, it has to be good. And that goes back to the old days before the computer revolution. Before the computer revolution started, it was the computer never makes mistakes. The computer is always accurate. So if someone had a utility bill for $1,231,513.37, that was their bill. No, that the computer made an error because for a residential customer, no one would get a bill that high. But for the person in the 70s and even people fighting halo reasoning now, it's an uphill climb because they say, oh, we never make mistakes. Oh, we do this. We have processes in place to check to make sure this never happens. Really? No, they don't. If they did, they'd actually look at it and they wouldn't blame the victim as they're doing with those examples I just cited. So, part of the reason for the computer revolution was to show people how to fight back and how to fight back properly with the rights, and also that how to show them how to be able to develop better computer programs and use computers better than what was used by the mainframe priesthood. But that was one example. The current example of halo reasoning is someone says, well, violence exists because there's not enough prayer, or violence exists because there's this person is from the wrong side of the tracks, or whatever. No, I travel by public transportation. I've lived in Evanston. I've lived in Kenosha. Lived in Wauwatosa, in Florida. Did my residency in Phoenix. People are people everywhere. If you're nice to someone, someone will be nice to you. Also, the other thing is, when people are afraid to even intermix in the community, which is what I found out like when I was staying with a former friend in Evanston, along Chicago Avenue, people sort of, when they came out, were very cautious, and it's like, oh, hi, how are you? But it really wasn't. But then it's like when you ask them to take, well, there's a Target, that's on Howard Avenue by Niles. Oh, I'll have a friend drive me. Well, if there's a bus that goes there. Oh no, we never take the bus. We only take Metro or the L. Well, the thing is, I found the reason I found out why they didn't want to take the bus is because they still had the version as people who take the bus are those who are part of the old version of the word help. What that meant is that was a two-class society where people who hired people to work as servants and even introduced them as their servant. Because a friend of mine who lived in Lake Forest at one time told me one time about how that some of the people in Lake Forest would even, instead of the person working for him having a name, they say, "Oh, this is my servant," or "This is my gardener." The person didn't even have a name. When I was raised in Wauwatosa is Milwaukee's version of Lake Forest, same as Whitefish Bay. Whitefish Bay is very much like the two-class Lake Forest I just described. Wauwatosa is not. When people were working, we say, "Oh, hi, this is Sam. He helps me with the house and stuff." And also we also did our own lawns. We changed our own spark plugs, and we worked hand in hand. And there was a Briggs and Stratton plant that Wauwatosa was also had manufacturing too. It wasn't so uppity that basically They didn't want manufacturing. They didn't want McDonald's. They didn't want fast food. The thing is, um, halo reasoning is on the increase as well as confirmation bias. Um, and when you look at current events that have happened, I mean, I just became aware of what happened on some things recently. I can see a lot of things where we really need to have a discussion about what really are the causes of the problem. And the first two things we have to put in discussions. We need to eliminate confirmation bias. We need to eliminate halo reasoning. When I studied at the University of Phoenix for my MBA and also for my doctoral, we worked on teams and we had a team charter. In the team charter, we put all the team members. We put what our goals are for our project that we're doing. Also, we put ahead of time, how would we resolve conflicts? How would we do conflict resolution? It wasn't like what the halo reasoning groups do or the confirmation bias groups. It's not confirmation of problem solving on the fly or when someone dies. It's or what we call tombstone reasoning. It's we plan ahead of time. We know there's going to be conflicts. We know there's going to be problems. So we plan ahead. How do we solve those problems? And part of it is that we keep a reasonable tone. We don't personally attack anyone. And also some people may say, like in Evanston, that they have an artistic temperament, which means that they can respond to argument and be cruel. What cruel is someone who's honest but is not kind. And that's not allowed either. The other thing that's not allowed is a person's not allowed to use a personal you or is not allowed to point. Um, and some, again, in Evanston, University of Chicago say, well, that's coddling. No, that's not coddling. That is being respectful in society because there are many creative people who aren't as expressive as I am, and they can easily be taken advantage of by marketing people who are expressive and can use the word you or point to or shoot them down. It's like Katy Perry's song "Roar." She mentions like in the beginning of the song she used to answer politely, nod, and she forgot she had a choice. You do have a choice, and also the choice is that we are going to be respectful, we're going to be adults, and we're going to do this politely. Um, the thing is, um, why this is important to do this at a time because I've been through many team projects, and whenever we did this, it was a joy for me to work on a team project. We solve things because we ran into problems. Because when you're doing creative things, you do run into problems. I mean, if you haven't run into problems, you're not challenging yourself. And people who use confirmation bias or halo reasoning aren't challenging themselves. They're interested in sitting at the desk, collecting a paycheck, making off that they're trying to do something, but they're actually making the process worse by occupying space where someone could occupy it that actually wants to solve things. Um, and um, with and when confirmation bias is eliminated and halo reasoning is eliminated, also the using of people is eliminated too. Because in both those processes, when they do get a problem, then they'll call someone who they feel is a geek or a brain or a fixer, to use DC terminology, to solve the problems. And they say, well, you're the fixer. You have to fix this. No. Um, just because someone has an intellect, that doesn't automatically incline them that they have to fix the problem. They, if they're offered the opportunity, they may want to fix the problem. But the thing is also they deserve respect as well as proper compensation because it is very hard mentally, emotionally, and physically to do that. I mean, some of us who do this sometimes have binge eating problems because we care about people. And sometimes we're also sensitive. We're not iron people. like in the movie The Iron Man with James Cagney. Even in that movie in the late 30s, they realized that it was bad that someone was not a completely Iron Man because if someone is an Iron person, then they're a Nazi. They don't care about anyone, they only care about their ideology, and whoever is different is not a person. And someone who is sensitive and who is not an Iron Man, who does cry, men and women, that means that they're human, and also that means that they care. Um, that I mean, I have moments where I cry too. Um, the thing is, um, we need to realize that we're bombarded with messages to be tough, to be great marketers, charge ahead, ram over the competition. You know it doesn't matter who you run over or whose shoulders you step on to climb to the top. Yes, it does. And that's not the way you improve yourself, because you improve yourself by meeting people, joining together, forming new friendships, also working in groups. And another way you improve yourself is you improve yourself by by showing people there is a better way, not by um, acting as a gladiator and saying, well, it's a zero sum game. Well, if I don't do this, then I don't get the promotion. If I don't do this to this one person, no, you don't have to do it that way. This isn't a forum. We're not barbarians anymore. We once were, but we shouldn't bring that back. Um, and even for me, I mean, um, I made a decision a long time ago, in '93, to leave corporate and leave the cubicle. And part of the reason was because one point I came home and I told my parents, I said, well, I'm getting ready to get a promotion. And then my dad asked me some questions. He said, well, I noticed there have been some changes in you. And he said, I'd rather have you leave that place and start over with another career because you're, they're trying to mold you into something that they want as a corporate cog or as a corporate um, head, as a corporate backstabber. And um, what happens, I took the courage, I walked out on Good Friday 1993 and never regretted it. Um, you can you can do a career which makes you happy and you can be a good person. You don't have to be what a lot of media messages are telling you about, um, you know, being aggressive, being going over people. There are ways to do it collaboratively. Yes, you need some aggression because you need to have the drive to say, I'm going to do this. Yes, it can be done. I will do it. Because there are other people who still use Hillary and try to give you negative reinforcement, or they'll say like, "Oh, there she is with the laptop again," or "Oh, look at what she's wearing," or something else. Well, um, the easiest thing, a lot of people say, "Well, don't listen to them." That's right, but also like in Taylor Swift's song, "Shake It Up." There are many things you can do rather than facing that type of negative environment. So, based on the time, and part of the best things to do with a negative environment like that is actually just to walk away. Just go, keep on walking. You may not know where, um, but walk someplace to a point of peace, a point of zero, and set up and do it again, and just set up and do it again. Um, you may have to build a new group to associate with, but you'll succeed because when you do positive things, you'll attract positive people who want to work with you and who want to be your friends and not use you. When you're in a negative environment, it's too easy to get pulled in. And remember, just when someone if your environment's too negative, um, pack up your things, walk away, and you're you're done. You don't have to explain. Just keep on walking. And the The main thing why I mentioned this today is because in design, like creativity, you have to know, have confidence in yourself. You have to have egotism, confidence, drive, vitality, individuality, most importantly, privacy. You can't always live in a fishbowl. Um, and that's a big issue about social media, is because social media can become a fishbowl. And especially when I think about with students in high school. When I went to high school in the late 70s. At that time, the computer revolution was going. I did have internet access because my dad was a military contractor. So, but the thing is, we didn't have social media. We had chat rooms and even up to from that time, late 70s to about late 90s, chat rooms were quite fun to go to because basically everyone there watched everybody. It was more like a gathering or a tribe. But the thing is, we didn't allow stalking or some of the other or bullying or any type like that. Because if someone did, um, the system administrator would contact another system administrator, and they'd be out. Um, they're done. Um, so, like, but today in junior high school or what they call middle school, even through high school, many, many, many students go through social bullying by Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media you mentioned. And the thing is, um, the school officials have not kept pace with the technology because some of them are still using halo reasoning confirmation bias to say, oh, well, this is not part of the school function. This is not different justifications. Yes, it is part of the school function. However, you need to do it not in a way that like they did in the 60s where they tried to stop rock and roll, tried to filter music because it challenged conventional view of some things that are wrong in society. You need to understand, set guidelines, and also you need to also identify which students are bullying and which students are being bullied. But the main thing is come down on the bullies. Tell them, if you're going to bully, fine, we'll send you to a bully school. You can interact with other bullies and see how you feel about being not part of the lower part of the food chain. Um, or if you want to live in civilized society, then you can stay in a civilized school. Um, Simple as that. Um, but the thing is, um, to students watching this, whether you're junior high school or middle school or high school or college, please remember whatever you post, make sure that if someone were to print it in a magazine or put it on a grocery store magazine stand, that you're not embarrassed by it. If you're not going to be embarrassed by it, if someone were to put like in a grocery store magazine or front page of a newspaper or your local paper, okay, fine, post it. But if you are, don't. The other thing is also if you're posting pictures, please use privacy settings, and also when you friend someone, I've even gone to the policy of only friending people who I know or just going as far as a friend of a friend that I've actually met. And that because yes, you want to build up your social list or something, but the thing is, some people will act as a friend to get your feed and pass it along to use it to harass you. And the reason I say this because I was socially bullied on Facebook when I lived in one neighborhood by Frank's school. I thought I was open. I allowed some people to join on my Facebook page. But then when I posted something, instead of having compassion, they said, oh, see, we got her upset. We did this, we did that. So please be careful. And the other thing is also, like what some people used to do is also try to find places where you can meet socially. I mean, Barnes and Noble is a good place. McDonald's, um, some Wendy's are a safe place. I mean, now they're getting back to more of a safe place. And Burger King, But the thing is, as well as Starbucks. But the thing is, um, try to meet also, but but meet friends who are of your own culture, who are of your own age. But the thing is, don't meet someone, don't meet someone you meet online. If someone says, well, oh, I like you, I want to meet you, and let's meet in Chicago or let's meet someplace outside of your home area. No, that's asking for trouble. Um, and that, and part of the thing is, I also volunteer for InfoGuard, which is a cooperative between the FBI and private industry to help in cybersecurity. And one of the pamphlets that they mentioned, though, is warning about meeting anyone who you met online, especially in a remote area, and even if it's a public area, and also not telling someone like your close friend or your friends or your parents who you're going to meet. Being secretive, no, that doesn't go either. Um, a, a third thing is I think more people know this, but never give your true birthday online and never give your phone number online, because the reason why is because some famous accounts that have been hacked by where people actually gave the true birth date, and the computer service actually considered that as a valid credential to reset a password and redirect the password to a different email. And this was done to one presidential candidate many years ago. Um, it's okay to lie about your birth date online. I mean, if you and change the month or the date, or change the month and the year, because but that way, so someone can't get access to your personal identifiable information. Um, when you do this, then you can enjoy yourself online. You can see things and other things too. And also, the other thing to do too is learn to try to work with the computer where you're not always connected. Have a time where you disconnect. Um, like for me, um, my time when I disconnect is normally between um, 5 or 7 p.m. at night till 7 in the morning. Because that's usually like when I like to meet with friends or meet with a friend and we watch a movie or something or watch a DVD or something. But you don't have to be connected all the time to internet. Um, if someone is, that's internet addiction. And the way to tell if it's someone or even if it's you, it's like for someone who drinks coffee to test if they have coffee addiction. Go 3 days, 3 days, and see how well do you feel if you don't use internet for 3 days. You're not connected. You don't check your Twitter. You don't check Facebook. You don't check your email. You use your phone to make essential calls. Or you check your email for work purposes or necessary purposes, but not unnecessary things. And like with coffee, go completely without coffee for 3 days. See how you feel. If you feel the same, then you don't have an addiction or you don't have a problem. But if you do, then what you need to do is you need to cut back and find a way how to end the internet addiction. The easiest way is with any type of addiction, you have to end it. It's not like telling someone to stop smoking. It's like, oh, you're smoking. You really shouldn't smoke. You should stop smoking right away. Oh, well, my parents smoked. My sister smokes a little bit, but I knew enough. And my dad stopped automatically. My mother stopped late, but we knew enough not to say go cold turkey. You're gonna have to stop. No, you don't do that. What someone has to do is they have to cut back, and they have to substitute. Again, substitute something else. Like if someone has internet addiction, well, substitute another good activity to do other than internet. If someone is smoking, substitute another way, how do we relieve stress other than smoking? Because most people smoke because they are stressful, and that's and it does. But the thing is, um, and it's a process. It's not gonna. But the thing is, you want to make forward progress. It's not going to be like from here to there. Because what happens when someone goes from here to there, it's like stop smoking, crash diet. You're going to go all the way back and have to make up the steps that you lost. No, you have to do a process to wean your body in any attitude off that. Um, and once you do, you will experience a better life, and also you will experience a balanced life. Because remember, internet can be fun, but don't don't make it like some dystopian science fiction things that have shown like in Star Trek and others, where people have like an implant connected to them, and the robotic, and they can't, and if they lose the connection to the high computer, they just go like this. No, you don't want that. You're a human being. It's in an internet is a way to communicate with others, and it's a great way to communicate with others because for people in communities where it's hard to get out, you can communicate worldwide with everyone, talk with someone, and also, but also remember, be responsible, and also keep. If someone is trying to pump you for information or trying to push you to do something, um, think a minute. Think. Wait. Do I really want to do this? Um, because the easiest way before you do anything is think. That's all I'm going to say is just think. Because when you have a chance to think about it, you'll have a feeling whether it's go or no go. Um, it's you may feel it, you may use some other process, but you'll feel it. And now to move on to another topic, this was a conversation that I had with a friend that I was tutoring in calculus and mathematics, where I was helping her to understand pre-calculus and calculus as well as science to help with the placement test. But the second part of the conversation is how does one learn how to program? And let me bring up one visual aid. This is a visual aid from actually 1978, which was which was about the first year I started high school. It was the magazine is called Creative Computing. It's no longer in existence. Let me try to show you some things of what they did there. Let's see. Just a minute. I think there's a one at the cover. Um, oh, okay. They took the. Let's see if I can find one that has a cover. Oh, okay. Well, this is an example. This is from 1978, and what they did was that they had different topics, but also they combined art as well as into people learning computers because part of the reason was during the pre-computer revolution days, computers were only thought to be used basically for order processing, payroll, um, business functions. There's no such thought as using a computer to play an app, using a computer to talk with someone, using a computer to write a better document, or or just using a computer to enhance your creativity. It was all strictly business, 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 business. And well, in the computer revolution, we realized, look, there's more than to life than just business. There's also having fun, and computers were meant as another way to use as a toy to have fun, not and but not a toy that's bound at the hip like a ball and chain when you walk. You always feel it with you. No, it was meant to be, like anyone who does boating or hiking or climbing. If you want to do it, you do it. Right? Or like golfing, if you want to do it, you do it. Well, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. And to give an example, there's a good TED talk I saw this weekend. It was called "Not Giving a F asterisk CUK," which, well, I'm going to say the word, not giving a fuck. Um, the reason is what the person was trying to say is don't get pulled into doing something because someone's trying to make you feel obligated. If you don't want to do something, just say, "I'm sorry, I have other plans," or "I'm sorry, I don't want to do. I don't want to. I can't come." There's nothing wrong with saying it that way. You're you're firm, you're honest, and people will respect that. But now, getting back to this article, is on how to write a computer simulation. And with the computer simulation, let me try to see if we can take a look at a few things. Well, this is a flow chart. This is a way how to diagram ideas. Nowadays, people use outlines or people use idea generators or mind maps. Um, and that was, but the main point is what you want to do is you want to get an idea. Well, if I have this process from here, what do I do? What do I do to get down to here? What steps? And it's not necessarily that you're thinking A to B to C or 1 to 2 to 3. You may think of 1, and you may think of 3, and you may think of 5. Then after you think about, oh, well, I have to do step 2 or then step 3. But it's a way to um, use visualization as well as idea generation, outlining to organize your ideas. So rather than thinking of a paper with lines, you're actually using a palette like this, and you actually take it, you go down, and so it's a way that you mix your left and right brain to think visually. Um, Now, part of the thing of developing a simulation is what background data are you going to use? What assumptions are there? Like if someone were to make a simulation on environmental science, for example, they may say, well, okay, what's the effect of coal production on pollution in acid rain formation or rain formation? Well, the assumptions are that you need to get data on on rain caused by excess by coal production, and also quantifiable data that is measured. Like if so many pounds of coal are put in the air, the next day so many inches of precipitation or rain is formed, and that way you can develop a mathematical process to develop to figure out what the simulation could do. And this is where you use simulation by parts. You have a function, and you take a series of trapezoids to figure out what state, what the state is, until you can figure out what the equation is. Now, as you eventually get the ideas for the program, or ideas on how the simulation is going to work, like, well, how is this transformed into that, and what comes from this? You can write a program. Now, at this time, the biggest part of the computer revolution was the development of BASIC. BASIC was to the computer revolution the same type of revelation that Martin Luther did when he converted the Bible from Latin into German, and other people were able to convert the Bible to other local languages as French, Italian. Because part of the thing that existed is that when expression is limited to a select group of people who can only write code for a computer or speak a certain type of spirituality or belief, but no one else can actually listen or verify whether the person speaking is correct, that's why you need a common language. And this is why BASIC was exactly like what Martin Luther did with the Bible by converting it from Latin to the common language so that everyone could understand and read, and also verify whoever was saying something, whether they were actually reading or whether they're just talking off the top of the head. But with BASIC um, allowed people that weren't that did not have a degree in data processing, which is or computer science, but mostly it's data processing, as it's called at that time, to develop programs. And this magazine, Creative Computing, was actually read, believe it or not, by fifth graders all the way up to people in the senior year of college. That's how big the demographics were, as well as professional programmers. It was huge. It was a huge demographic. And it was made that way because it was that people, computers to the people, and also that people would be able to express ideas without having to go to the data processing department and beg them to write a program for them. So um, as they started writing the program, what some people did is some people shared it. And creative computing was what some would consider called today like open source. People would send articles to creative computing. They would publish very meaningful programs that people could use socially, for their work, for other things. And it was a way before the new internet to allow for exchange of information. The other thing what creative computing did, which is different than what other data processing magazines did, there were no faked runs. Let me repeat this. No faked runs. And what I mean by that, by faked, F-A-K-E-D, runs, is this. Many people would publish a recipe or publish an article in a data processing magazine using an algorithm or what's called pseudocode. But the thing is, and then they say, well, if you use this code and use this data, you'll get this result. Well, people use this code, use that data. They said, you wrote to the editor, hey, I'm not getting this result. There's something wrong. Oh, we checked this. We went through our editorial process and such. Well, what David H. Hall did and Betsy Staples is their policy was that no fake runs. Before they published it, they actually put the program in as submitted, ran it, and also they took the printouts and actually had them typeset in the article. So you actually, it wasn't a case where someone was typing it in. It was actually typeset. So it was directly from the terminal to the terminal printer, which that was what people used in those days, instead of like what we use today with the laptop screen. You had a paper printer that also was your terminal, and that made it that people had confidence that these programs would work and that they could actually learn. And if something didn't work right, it wasn't because they were fighting a fake program. It was because there's something either that wasn't typed in properly or something that wasn't working otherwise. And it's similar to what Julia Childs did. When Julia Childs did her first cookbooks, she took various recipes and she decided, well, okay, let's try to reduplicate the recipes. She went through and followed through and she realized something, that some of these recipes couldn't be duplicated; they were faked. And so the next step was she actually made a cookbook where she actually looked at the recipes, wrote them down, and did them step by step, and she had another person do it step by step, and another person do it step by step, to make sure that it came out exactly the way she made it. And that's what this is. This is like a cookbook on code, cookbook on creativity. So the thing is, no, this was 1978, and this magazine ran until the 1980s. There's another magazine called Byte that also was very much, and the two of them were symbiotic. They both built upon each other. Started at almost the same time as creative computing, and it went all the way up to about the late 90s. What and then when bytes started to fade, then Wired came in under the original ownership, and which was very creative, and then after 2000, it switched over to the new ownership. But Wired is still beneficial. Um, but the thing is, um, Wired doesn't have code. These Byte and these had code, and part of the reason for code is because you learn more by typing in code or doing code than just reading about it as a summary. Because when you type in the code, you sort of think, after a while you start to see, oh, well, this person did this here because they're trying to do this. I mean, you learn it by just by practice. It's like some people who practice the guitar, or some people who do golf. You learn by practice. You learn by practice, and this was the way that encouraged many of us to do creative things, and basically, um, at the time, um, Bill Gates was part of the movement. Steve Wozniak, uh, Steve Jobs was part of the movement as well. And the main thing what everyone did support though was the shared creativity. Yeah, but a common thing we didn't allow was we didn't allow piracy, and we didn't allow um, someone taking credit for someone else's code. Um, because part of it is piracy stops creative people from working and stops creativity and development, because marketers love piracy because basically they make big profits because they can keep selling an old product over and over and over again, and people will still be forced to buy it, and they still may have the same safety issues as before, where a new product won't have the safety issues. It's like with cars. Tucker introduced disc brakes, but the auto industry fought them for many years for disc brakes because they didn't want people to realize that there's a better braking system, and also they didn't want to put the extra money into disc brakes. And when you consider that they made 10 million cars a year, the extra money to put in disc brakes was only $30 per car. And that's based on a car that cost $2,000 back then. So that's why in the computer revolution, and even today, is why piracy is not acceptable. Also, taking credit for someone else's work is not acceptable either, um, because that causes people, technology, and also quality of life to diminish, and it also causes people who are creative to not be able to have enjoy their quality of life, and to be taken advantage of by. Um, so I mean, so if someone we want to call it a good quality of life, main thing is it starts with you. Whatever example you feel is good for quality of life, you have to practice yourself. And any type of request or order that you give someone who's working for you, you have to follow that order too. It's just like the first two laws of West Point for an officer, because you are then the officer. But the point is, um, when people say no to piracy and say no to someone taking credit for someone else's work, you'd be surprised how fast quality of life improves. Like in the 70s, we were going through a big crisis in confidence because of what happened in our history back then. The computer revolution is what allowed us to zoom up and move past that, and also that allowed what allowed the 90s to become a very prosperous decade once we were able to get the computers together, get the tools together, work together, and not in a corporate basis where everyone's a cog and everyone's in a cubicle, but everyone can be themselves. They can be the individual. If you want to come to work in blue jeans, you can come to work in blue jeans as long as they're not torn. I mean, Steve Jobs came to work in blue jeans. His blue jeans were tailored though, so what that meant is there were no frayed edges, and also the jeans were made so that they're not too tight. So because you're there to work, you're not there to be at a club. So if you're going to go to work, but just leave the club wear at home. But so just and the thing is, also everyone didn't always have to come in a suit and tie or black suit. But there are times that you had to when there's specific meetings. Then you had to like with me. Today I'm casual. I'm just basically in casual pants, top. Um, but when I do meet people in corporate, I am in corporate slacks, um, corporate top, either scarf or suit coat, um, and also dress shoes. Um, but the point is, um, work together and also work cooperatively. The other thing is, if you see someone being bullied, someone being pointed out because they're crying, um, what I would do is I look at the person who's doing the bullying. I give them a look and like saying, hey, that's not right. That you should let that person have their private moment. If you're not going to help, then get out there. Don't make that person feel worse by. Um, but the best thing to do is, like they say, if someone is being bullied, walk up to them, be an ally. Say, look, you're not alone. I'm here. I'm extending a wing to help you. So. And on social media, the best way to stop the bullying that goes on social media leads people to feel like the isolation or drives them to a psychiatric hospital or any type of hospital is when you see bullying, report it to the system administrator. And also, if someone does post a negative comment, if you do want to post a comment, you can say, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. You don't have to elaborate, or if you don't want to post anything, you can post something positive to say, but not to say something. But um, lastly, the most important thing is in dealing with bullying, halo reasoning, confirmation bias. When some of these people get encountered that they're actually trying to not solve a problem, hide behind a problem, some of them can get mean. So don't expose yourself to getting hurt uh, verbally, getting verbally abused or physically abused. Try to help from a distance that you protect yourself. So don't go in like some just half cocked and the easiest way is what I do is I go legal. If someone goes too far, I either contact the Equal Rights Division in the state of Wisconsin and Madison, I call Lambda Legal in Chicago or New York, or I have an account with Legal Shield and I call my attorney at Legal Shield. And I do work as an associate for Legal Shield and have been for many years. I wish I would have known about Legal Shield sooner because that would have helped me with other things in my transition as well. But the thing is, you we're a civilized society. Never go down to the lower level of the where it's like the barbarian society where someone's saying, oh, you have to be tough, you have to be mean, you have to hustle, you have to push someone out of the way, or else you're going to get pushed out. No, we're a civilized society. We have laws, we have rules, and also we change the laws from time to time when the laws are proven invalid or when they are invalid, like civil rights, LGBT rights, the Supreme Court decision, which allowed full gender equality and gender expression. Um, and so that's the other point. You do have a voice. You can speak up. So in addition to doing creativity in fashion design and creativity in code, also try to use your voice to make yourself better and also make your local community better and if you can, the world better. But do your best. And if you ever feel someone is pushing you to make you feel alone, um, get out of that area, go to another area where you can think clearly, and when you're in that area, call a friend, talk with them, um, and Another example, if you feel like you're being verbally abused or in an abusive situation, first thing to do is get out there, walk away, just get out there to break. Then, if you have a cell phone, pick up the cell phone, call someone you know that's trusted to come and help you when you're in a safe place. Or if you need to call the police department, you do the same thing. Because the first thing the police department will tell you is get in a safe place. If you're in an abusive environment, don't call from there because someone will come and try to stop you from calling. So get in a safe place, then make the phone call. Um, but there's a lot of creative things to do. So spend your time doing the creative things and stay away from the negative things. And when you do decide to make a change in life, just do it. Because everyone has a barrier, that holds them back. Just all you have to do, take a step, take another step, you're there. Whatever was in the past, whatever happened in high school, whatever teasing, you're out of high school. You're over here. You're in college. You're starting your professional life, and have fun. Well, let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at Diana1A, and also I'm on Instagram as well as Pinterest. And my website is KaneckiArt, KaneckiArt dot webs, WEBS dot com. So KaneckiArt, KaneckiArt webs.com. And on Twitter, Diana18. Let me know what you think, and I'm planning to prepare more videos in the future.